Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Pen, and it's nearing the end of October, and in the UK on the 5th of November we celebrate Guy Fawkes Night or Bonfire Night, whichever you prefer. And a great bake for Bonfire Night is a golden syrup sponge cake. So today that's what we're going to be making. The ingredients I will give you are for a £2 cake tin. I'm going to try baking it in my ADREO, so therefore I have two £1 cake tins that I have buttered and lined. So if you come on down, we can go through the ingredients. In my bowl we have 200 grams of self-raising flour, and I sieved it in, and I'm just doing that to make sure there's no lumps at all. In my jug I have 150 ml of milk together with 1 beaten egg. In my pan over here I have melted, I have 100 grams of butter, 50 grams of caster sugar, 50 grams of soft brown sugar, I use dark brown sugar, and 200 grams of golden syrup. And I just want to point something out to you. What I did, I used a cup to measure my golden syrup, but I brushed the cup with oil, and my golden syrup just poured out really easily. So we've got our ingredients, that's nice, and we'll need some more golden syrup for the actual top of the cake when it's cooled. Right, so now we have to add our milk and egg and our sugary syrup, or sugary buttery syrup, call it what you will, to the mix. It smells so nice, doesn't it? Golden syrup. Oh. Right, there we are. And then we've just got to mix it in, and what we don't want is we don't want any floury bits, so make sure it's all mixed properly. And then when you're sure you've got all the flour mixed in, you just need to pour it into your cake tin or tins. So I'm going to go about halfway onto. Now this is my first bake in the ADREO, so I've no idea how it will turn out, but the other cake I'm going to cook in the Ninja 10-in-1 oven right now. Okay, so ADREO open, and I'm actually going to go and get some foil like I do in my Ninjas. Right, what I've got is a sheet of foil, and I'm going to fold it in half and then in half again, and I'll pop the cake on top and pop it into our ADREO. Now I'm going in at an angle, you don't have to, but I just think that will work better. So then we shut the door, we switch on, we go to classic mode, and we want to bake, so we go down to bake. Now select it, and let's bring you in. The default setting for time and temperature are not what I need. The default setting for baking is 185. I want to bring it down to 160. And the time, it takes about an hour in an ordinary oven. So I'm going to go, look, do you know what, I'll go for 50 minutes, and if it needs longer I will cook it for longer. And now I press start, and that will start cooking straight away. There we go. I can just look through the door, see if it's risen at all, and away we go. The one that I'm cooking in the Ninja 10-in-1, I'm just setting to bake. Yep. And that's going to go to 162, or as in 160 as well. And that I will do for 50 minutes. Now the ADREO, I don't preheat, I pop it straight in. The Ninja has a preheat function, so they should be cooked at a similar time, but we shall be back and see. Right, just a little update. We've had about 25 minutes of cooking. The one in the ADREO, I have actually turned around and I've turned the temperature down to 150 because it was really browning well. The smell in the kitchen is amazing. The one in the Ninja 10-in-1 is colouring evenly, but it's not as domed as the one in here. Let me just see if I can show you. I'm not actually sure how much you can see there, if I'm absolutely honest. Wait. See what I mean about it getting very coloured on one side? But that's okay, because we're going to hide that with more, we're going to hide it with more golden syrup. Let's just take a quick look at the one in the Ninja. And there you can see the one in the Ninja, not as domed, not as browned, but should be equally as delicious. I have just inserted a skewer into the cakes and they are both cooked. Now I have warned you, this one got a little browner than I would have liked, but it's a taste that counts. Sugar, look at that. Right, use the foil and you'll get this out really, really easily. Right, I'm going to be quite selective with how I show you it. Right, there is a ADREO chef maker. It's dark, but I can tell you that isn't actually feeling burnt. You know, burnt has a feel. Right, now let's take out the one from, switch this off, from the Ninja. And much lighter. I'm just going to do another prod and always go in at an angle because you get more of the cake that way. And look, that is clean too. So both have cooked in about 40-ish minutes, so that's pretty good going. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave them to cool, and then we shall poke holes in. I'm sure we're all good at poking holes in things, aren't we? Poke holes in and then pour over some more golden syrup. Look, can you see? Let's bring you down. Both cakes, as you touch, they spring back up. They're not hard. They're very hot, and they just automatically spring back up. So I'm pleased. Both of them have got the crack that you get on a properly cooked cake. So all in all, I'm quite pleased, but let's be back for the final flourish. Right, it's been about 7 or 8 minutes now, so what I'm going to do is shut the door, and I'm just going to poke holes all over the cakes. And then I'm going to pour some golden syrup over the top. And remember the tip I told you about earlier? Well, I'm using it here. And we're just going to pour the golden syrup over, and the syrup will go through those holes into the warmed cake. And the same with this one, and you can see it's pouring out beautifully. So oil the spoon or the receptacle when you're using syrups or black treacle, and you get a much easier pour, and you can weigh and measure much easier if you do it this way too. Now what I have to do, and this is going to be the hardest part of this bake, believe me, is this now has to be left to cool, and then we have to leave it. I know it's criminal, isn't it? But we want to leave it wrapped up. We want to wrap it up in more baking parchment and foil and put it in a tin and leave it for about, well, at least 2 days, because then when you cut into it, the taste will be sublime. There you go. A golden syrup cake. You could reheat it and have it with custard, but it really is delicious just with a cup of tea. So I just need to say thank you for watching this episode of In the Kitchen with Pen, and a British tradition for Bonfire Night, treacle or golden syrup cake. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye. If you'd like to see more of what we get up to in the kitchen, click here.
And if you'd like to subscribe, please click here. And obviously don't forget to tick that ding-a-ling.
Stand there.
That ding-a-ling.